Hello friends, welcome to Shipbuilding 101. In this video we're going to go over some basic tips on building a ship in Starfield, some of the errors you might see, and basically the minimum requirements that you need for a ship in this game. So let's cut right to the chase, load up Starfield, and check out the ship builder. Alright, we are in Starfield right now. This is my ship, the Phantom. I built this not from scratch, I kind of just edited another ship that you can pick up in the game. But I'm going to go ahead and talk to this guy right here. This is the guy you need to talk to do any kind of shipbuilding. You talk to the ship services tech and you say, I'd like to view and modify my ships.
Sure, how about it?
Alright, and this is the ship builder. So you can press A here and you can upgrade all the individual parts that you might want to. But we're not going to do that. We're going to go into the ship builder by pressing X. When you press X, it'll give you a way more comprehensive look at your ship. You can see all the different parts, you can select them, you can move them around, you can snap them on different spots. But what we're actually going to do is we're going to take a ship, we're going to completely delete all the parts, sell them back to the ship builder, and we're going to build a ship from scratch. Now, I don't want to mess with this ship just in case I mess up my save and I lose this ship, so I'm going to back out. We're going to select the Dagger, which is a ship that I picked up along the way as I was playing the game. I just kind of stole it from somebody, and I don't really care about it. It's just in my arsenal here, so I'm going to press X to do the ship builder, and now I'm going to go through all the different pieces here, and we're just going to delete everything. Just delete it all. We're going to remove all of the parts. Alright, so now we have a blank canvas. We can do whatever we want with it. As you can see on the very bottom, all the numbers are 0 in red, except for mass, because the lower the mass the better, so 0 mass is, I guess they're technically considering it good. We can also see the total in the top right is 7,814 credits, so basically when you delete a ship part, you're selling it back to the shipbuilder. And then you can use that money to buy other parts. But so what we're going to do is we're going to press A, and that lets us choose different parts. So we're going to need a... Let's start with the habs, because every ship needs a hab. And I just realized that pun I just made there. Every ship needs a hab, and we're gonna just pick the Nova Galactic all-in-one berth. I like the Nova Galactic stuff. I'm gonna select it with A, and it places it right in the center there. So every ship needs one of these habs. Basically, it's how you connect your landing gears to it. You connect your landing bay to it, so you can get in and out of the ship and your cockpit. So this is basically the main portion of your ship. Alright, we're going to go over here and press A again, and we're going to select a new item. We're going to go all the way up to cockpits, and we're going to select the Magellan C2X cockpit. Now, like I said before, I like the Nova Galactic stuff, so we're going to buy it, and we're going to slap it on the front right here, and now we have a cockpit and a hab. We have a small part of our ship. And now you can see there on the bottom right, you'll see 8 errors. So I'm actually going to do a flight check by pressing the menu button, and we'll see the errors. As we build the ship, these errors will start to go away, but as you can see, we're missing a bunch of different parts. We don't have engines. We need more thrust to push the mass because there's no engines, but now there is mass. Alright, I'm going to press A, and we're going to select a landing bay. So this is the Nova Galactic one, so we'll pick that. And as you can see, as I'm hovering over it, you'll see these different circles on the piece. And the circles will let you know where you can snap it onto another piece. So when I select it and move it around, you should see on the bottom here, we have some circles. We can snap it right on the bottom, and now the landing bay is connected. And as you can see, it opens in the front. And this is where you climb up into the ship, and there's a little ladder you can select and go right into the hab. And so as you can see, now there are less errors because we're adding more and more parts that we need. Alright, we're going to open up a new part. Let's choose a engine. So we're going to do... Let's do some small engines, little white dwarf engines. We're going to snap them right on the back here. And when you put one part on, you can select it you can hover over it and press Y to duplicate it, and then Y also flips it. Then you can snap it to the ship. And now something to think about, if you see the class of all these parts, these are all Class A parts. When you start out, you can only fly Class A ships. And if I come over here, I can actually look through the engines, and you'll see at some point, you'll see Class B engines. Now Class B engines put out way more thrust, but you need a special skill or a special level of the piloting skill in order to fly Class B ships. And then the max level of that skill, it will let you do Class C, which then you can make really big ships with really big engines. Class C ships are really awesome, but you do have to level up that skill a lot in order to be able to fly them. All right, let's go back. So we have our engines. So as you can see, the mobility and top speed have jumped up to 100 and 150. Mobility at 100 is the max you can do, I think at least for Class A. And now since I've added habs in a cockpit, the cargo space has gone up. So 260 kilograms of mass that will allow you to hold for different items in the game. All right, and the total mass of the ship has also gone up as well to 222. So we're going to open up the menu again. We need a fuel tank. Let's not do the fuel tank just yet because we need another part that'll go on top, a couple more parts. We're going to choose a grav drive, and the grav drive I'm just going to stick right in the back because that is necessary to jump from star to star or system to system, but it doesn't necessarily need to be anywhere in specific. So I'm going to open up a menu again. We're going to choose the docker. Now, so the docker is really important. It is another necessary part. So far, all of these parts have been necessary. So you need a landing bay, you need a cockpit, a hab, a docker, at least one engine, and a grav drive. So the docker is a really important part. The docker really allows you to connect to ships and to space stations, so you can dock with them and board them if you need to. But something really important about the docker is it needs to be on the very outside of the ship. So if you put any other parts stacked up here taller than the docker, it won't let you. You'll get an error. And I'll show you that later. But right now what we'll do is we're gonna choose another part. So we need a reactor, and the reactor basically generates power for the ship. So we're going to select the Class A reactor. We're going to slap it on there, and that will give us power to power up weapons, to power up more engines, the bigger grav drives, things like that. And as you can see, the number of errors has gone down a lot. It's now only 2 errors. So if you go into the menu, we are missing a lasers, and we need the fuel tank, which I didn't add yet because I wanted to add more parts that would allow me to snap the fuel tank onto it. And all of these warnings, the ones that are yellow with the triangle, the exclamation point, they're not required, but they are important. So if you want, you can leave out, I'm going to leave out a shield and weapons when I do the final build for the ship, but they're necessary. The ship will fly without them, but I highly do not recommend building a ship without a shield or weapons, because once you fly out into space and you get attacked by spacers or by pirates or any kind of enemy, you will lose that fight no matter what if you don't have a shield or weapons. Alright, so we need some landing gears, so let's go all the way to gear, and we'll pick landing gear and we'll snap that on the side. Still have an error. We have too few landing gears, so we need 2 of these at least. So we're gonna flip it, snap it, the error went away. So we have a fuel tank is what we need. We go to fuel tanks, we're gonna buy this one because this one snaps on the side, and we're gonna snap it right here. And now all we have is 4 warnings. We have the missing weapon assignments and a missing shield. So you can fly this ship. This is the most basic ship that you need in order to fly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this grav drive on the top, and I'm going to show you that warning that I was talking about before, or the error from before. So now we have 1 error, and that error is invalid docker module position. So like I said, it has to be the most external part of the ship, and it has to connect to a hab. So if you don't have it on the top, or actually it can go on the bottom too, but I have the landing bay there, but you can put it on top or on bottom, but it has to be the very external piece. So we'll swap this back out down here, and now there's just the warnings. So I'm going to do a flight check. So we only have the warnings here. We can press X to rename the ship. The ship was called the Dagger, but let's rename this. So let's clear this out, and we're going to call it the Paring Knife. I'm using my awesome Xbox controller keyboard that I have a video of. I'll put a little thing in the top right corner so you can check out that video. But I'm going to exit out of here. This is the Paring Knife. At A to confirm. We're going to do the menu button again to exit, and it's going to ask us, we're going to confirm, we're going to accept these changes. Even though we have errors, we're going to accept, and then we're going to press the menu button again. This is now our home ship. Oh, and I got an error up there saying a Doring fan is no longer following you, and that's because this ship doesn't have any crew space. So there's nowhere for Doring fan to go. So let's go out of this menu and we'll check out a new ship. So this is our little ship, the paring knife. And let's run to get on there. We got a cool little area. So this is exactly the same module that's in the Frontier. So you got some seating for passengers. Crew members can't sit there. And then we have the bed and all this other stuff. And let's go into the cockpit, which I believe is the same cockpit also that's on the Frontier. Sit in the driver's seat here, and we're gonna launch into space, and we're gonna check out what this ship is like. Every time you launch into space, you get this cool little cutscene, and a lot of people are a little annoyed with the cutscenes because they would rather fly manually out into space, but that's a whole other video. Alright, we are out in space flying the paring knife. Now this thing is actually pretty sweet. Top speed is decent, 98, I don't know what that is, maybe kilometers per hour or something. We can do a little boost, go a lot faster. So the actual wow, this thing, actual top speed, that's the fastest of any of the ships that I've made so far, but this thing's tiny. It doesn't have really any mass to push. Alright, and that is the paring knife. Wow, what a great little ship. And that's basically shipbuilding 101. It's all the stuff that you need to worry about, all the different parts that are required, all the errors you might run into, and some real basics on how to put a ship together. I'll definitely make a more advanced shipbuilding video much later on, so if you're interested in that, go ahead and click right here on my face to subscribe. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the Starfield.